This is Adventure for Life. I'm Joel. The sun is rising on a new day, and on my 15,000 mile cross-country Key West to Dead Horse to Maine to back to the southeast trip. There's the Grenadier ready to roll. Sun in the background, and we'll see what our starting mileage is. It is 6,459, as you see right there. And it's going to be interesting to see, I've charted this trip out as 15,000 miles, but there's going to be some ancillary driving in the middle of all that. So time will tell, but I'm guessing when I get back, it'll be at 22, 23, something like that. There will be some intermittent stops, as I've mentioned in the middle of this. I'm gonna spend a week in Texas, blah, blah, blah. So this trip's gonna probably be 6 or 7 weeks altogether with some stops in the middle. But here we go. See you down the road. Okay, so the first stop on my 15,000 mile cross-country trip is not the classiest joint in the world. It is the Big Daddy Don Garlits Drag Racing Museum. So I've driven down to Orlando more times than I care to remember, and driven by this museum a bunch of times, wanted to come in. Honestly, I'm not much of a drag racer, but I do like cars, and just would like to see what this place is all about. So here I am at Big Don's garage. Why in the world he's got some kind of old fighter jet out in front of the museum, I don't know, but anyway, hopefully I'll be able to video while we're inside. And I'm parked in the truck parking, so I gotta move it, but here we are, Big Daddy. That's nice. They've dedicated the building to their grandparents, so that tells you it's from 1983. Got a bunch of people that have obviously sponsored this building and this drag racing thing. There's old Team Hightower, Sand Dragster La Mirada, California, I guess. Anyway, I'm heading in, and again, hopefully they'll let me video some in here. Well, the good news is I can video, so this gives you a look at the Drag Racing Hall of Fame or museum, whatever it is. They supposedly have some antique cars next door, so I'm going to go over there in a minute. We'll see what this is all about. There's Big Don. I'm sure that's not his first car, but pretty cool. And I'll just kind of show you what he's got. Looks like a bunch of drag racing cars, which is exactly what you would expect. Like a turbine. Yep, sure enough. That's a turbine car. I just looked at it, and I used to be in the aviation turbine business, and that's what it looked like, so didn't realize they had turbine cars. Or at least that Don Garlits did back in 1982 and 83. So I just watched the video, and again, I'm not a drag racing guy, but you can see all these older drag vehicles. The motor is in front of the driver, and to me that would make a lot of sense. You're trying to balance the weight or whatever, but apparently Don Garlits was the first guy to ever put the motor behind the driver, and maybe that gives you better traction on the back tires because of the the weight or something like that. Again, I'm not a drag racing guy, but apparently that's one of the things that put Don Garlits on the drag racing map. So here's a good display of other drivers' cars: Connie Coletta, Pete Robinson, Chris Karaminsinez, Don Prudhomme, Gary Cochran. So I've heard of a couple of them, Connie Coletta and Don Prudhomme, but wow, that's a crazy looking car, the red one, sitting way back. Yeah, this is interesting place. The Piranha. Some pretty wacky looking designs here. I don't remember ever seeing vehicles. These look like high-speed vehicles rather than drag racing vehicles to me, but again, that says that that's from the 70s. Wow, pretty great designs there. I guess there's your drag go-kart right there. I don't think I'd want to get in that. The Pocket Rocket. Well, this pink car appears to be Shirley Muldowney. Well, I guess so, because there's John Tobler and John Muldowney are the crew. Anyway, it appears that this, what we're going to call rear engine car, was Don Garlits', I hate to call it claim to fame, but he was the first one to do it, and was whipping everybody. When he had it, nobody else did. All right, well, I'm going to head over to the Antique Car Museum now. Well, I was wrong. There is more to the Drag Racing Museum, so here's just another section, a bunch of more Don Garlits cars. Here's a John Force car, so apparently got some funny cars. And again, I'm not a drag racing expert by any stretch, so you know exactly what these things are called. I know the term funny car, I know the term top fuel dragster. Apparently Don Garlits raced funny cars also, so this is kind of neat. I mean, you're getting a little bit of a different look of some different kinds of cars. By the way, this costs $17 to get in to see the Drag Racing Museum and the antique cars, which I'll go over to in a minute. So this is kind of crazy. I just read the sign right there, but it says this thing came off an airplane and produced 2,000 horsepower on regular gas. Some other modified 30s kinds of vehicles. Just walked out of the Museum of Drag Racing. There's the Grenadier over there. And I'm going to try to turn this not too fast. Head down here to the Antique Car Museum. So I'll show you what that's all about in a minute. So the Antique Car Museum is dedicated to their parents. Isn't that nice? This is supposed to be a mock-up of Don Garlits' garage from back in the 50s. Anyway, here's a quick look down one side of the Antique Car Museum. And here at the other side, there's another aisle to my left too. So looks like they got a bunch of different cars, and then in the middle they've got under plexiglass, I would assume, or glass, a bunch of different kinds of motors. Pretty neat. So mostly it's been 40s and 50s and 60s vehicles, I'm not even sure what this thing is. Some crazy modified something that says Kindle GT1. Got a aluminum trailer over there, got a tricycle, variety of things. So this museum's not real big, but I mean the cars that they have are really nice, and again they appear to all be 40s and 50s and 60s. There's a 1974 Carnegie, enjoyable. Both of these cars are unbelievable. They have, it says this thing has been driven less than 10 miles since its uncovering. So basically it was really never driven. This car has got less than 200 miles on it, and it's a 1926 Model T. They've all got their crazy stories associated with it, but that is pretty amazing. I'm not reading all the signs, but this one caught my eye because it said Dwight D. Eisenhower on it. So if you read the sign real quick, it says that Dwight's wife, Mamie, bought this car for him in 1956, and it was built especially for them. And through a twist of events, Don Garlits was able to buy it. And there's Ike and Tina Turner. How about that? Was able to buy it and put it in the museum. So there's a original Dwight D. Eisenhower vehicle. Okay, walking out of the Antique Car Museum. Again, if you look at the nose of that airplane, the Grenadier sitting right underneath it. First, I'd say, again, this was 17 bucks and well worth the $17 that it cost me to get in here. I probably spent an hour in this place, and it was very enjoyable. Had some cool stuff to look at. You could easily spend a couple, 3-4 hours in there if you wanted to read every sign and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, there's the Grenadier under the airplane, and I'm headed to Key West. So I'll call that the end of today. There's if you can see the Big Daddy Don Garlits Museum sign up there. Again, if you're ever heading south on the Florida Turnpike, it's worth a stop in Ocala, Florida for the Big Daddy Don Garlits Museum. So there's always an addendum, I guess. But anyway, I'm videoing this because you can see the Grenadier in the background, and this monument, I was wondering why this airplane was here. This monument erected to acknowledge some people at the christening, I guess, of the Don Garlits Museum of Drag Racing. Again, why it's not some kind of hot rod drag racer, I have no idea. Oh, here we go. Don Garlits in the U.S. Navy. So Don Garlits went to Vietnam to tour around and to rally the troops and whatnot. And so it appears the Navy gave him this airplane. Anyway, see you next week.